Okay, so today we are starting 10A Credit 2. And just as a reminder, you guys, make sure that you have your credit open on Kami. We all should be on this page together. And then just as another reminder, please make sure your phones are silenced, put away, and then also be mindful and respectful of your peers as they are reading aloud and sharing perspectives on this credit. I don't have any issues with you guys at all in that regard, but just a friendly reminder. So the theme of this credit is about globalization and what it means to go global. For our readings, we're going to be having 3 readings during this whole credit. So we'll start with how globalization is shrinking the world. Reading 2 will focus on outsourcing, called Outsource It. And then reading 3 is going to be about exploding economics. So this credit is definitely going to talk a lot more about kind of economic terms. So we'll be sure to dive into that more deeply when we get into the readings. But let's go ahead and start talking about globalization. So what do you guys know about that word global? What does that mean? What do you guys think of when you hear the word global? The world. Okay, good. Do we agree with Sarai? Global meaning the world? Okay. Yeah. So if you look at the image right here, it's kind of small, but globalization has to do with, as Sarai said, the entire world. So this is how our countries throughout the world are now connected to one another, how we are also connected to other people around the world as well. And this is really how our country runs now. If you think about when you go to the store and you go buy a pair of shoes or sweatshirt or whatever, if you look at the tag, do you notice where it's made from? Mm-hmm. Yeah? What are some countries that you guys have seen on those tags?
China.
China's a big one, yeah, for sure. Mexico, good. Any other ones?
USA.
There are some.
UK,
yeah, there are some USA made products. As we go into these readings though, we'll see that a lot of products are actually not made in the USA. It's pretty rare to come by products that are made in the USA. Most of the things that we buy come from other countries. This connects to our idea about globalization. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the opener then. So we're going to look at the opener and then we're going to answer a couple questions together. So I'll go ahead and read this out to you guys, and I want to talk about questions 1 and 2. Since the late 20th century, innovations such as computers and the internet have been making the world a smaller place. Products made in other countries are in our homes every day. Many of the things we use were invented somewhere else. You probably already own clothing and electronics that were made in other countries. And by the time you enter the job market, you'll be working and competing with people from all over the planet. The world has gone global for good. How will globalization affect your life? So we already kind of talked about this in the beginning. We see that the products that we buy are in fact made from other people in other countries. So let's look at questions 1 and 2. I kind of just want to get your thoughts about this. So number 1. What do you think going global means? So that term, if our country is going global, what exactly do you think that means? What are we doing?
Like if someone's going live, they say going global, and it's like everybody's going viral.
Okay, so going live and going viral is kind of, yeah, if you go live, then everybody around the world has the ability to watch you, right? As long as they have that social media account, whatever platform you're using to stream, yeah, anybody from around the world can watch your video. That's good. Any other ideas on what going global means? Another thing to think about, so think about the clothes, right? We know our clothes come from other countries, so that means business is also going global. The United States is doing business with other countries around the world. The United States is doing business with workers in China to make our clothes, or workers from Vietnam to make our Nike shoes, or whatever country that they're doing business with. That's another example of going global. So basically just that with our technological advances we have, we're able to communicate a lot better with other countries around the world. That kind of leads me into number 2. So now we are able to communicate easily with anybody, anywhere around the world. How do you think it's possible? And for example, how is it possible for someone who works for an American company live anywhere in the world? How is that possible? How can we do that now? Think about the technology that we have. Let's say I work, well, even like here, let's say I work for Marconi, but I get to work from home. How can I do that? How can I work for the school and be a teacher? A computer, right? So as long as I have access to a computer or to internet, Wi-Fi, a hotspot, any of those things, I can pretty much work anywhere I want, right? Some customer service jobs, like if you call up like a company and maybe you want to like return something, and if you call the customer service line, and you'll notice that somebody from another country may have answered the phone. As long as they have access to internet, pretty much now these jobs can be done anywhere. We saw this with COVID, right? When the world pretty much shut down and everybody had to be remote, we were able to do that because of the technology that we have now. And if anything, that promoted us to use this technology even more. Any questions about globalization so far before we move on into our vocabulary? We're good? Okay, so then just, what's up? Yes, thank you, Jayla. So go ahead and write in your responses for question 1 and question number 2. Just write down what you shared out loud with me. And then once you have those 2 questions answered, just give me a thumbs up, and then we'll move on to the next part of the lesson. And then if needed to, as we're going along through the credit, I will have printed resources available if you would rather have some readings or the vocabulary chart with you physically on hand, so I can have that for you. And then as you're reading too, Cami also does have some tools you can use when you are working on some parts of the credit independently. You can use the dictionary, or you can use text-to-speech as well. I see some of you guys are still typing, so I'll give a little bit extra time before we move on. How are we doing so far? Thumbs up if you're good. Okay, perfect, thank you. So we're gonna move on to our vocabulary. So our chart, we have 5 words. We're gonna review coordinate, domestic, infrastructure, innovation, and trend. So if you guys go over to the previous tab, and then if you go ahead and open up the Google Doc vocabulary chart, just have that open on this tab, and then we're going to switch in between. So let's go over these words together. So first we have coordinate, and we're going to fill in the blank For this